Hello, everybody. Welcome to ABD Music. My name is Matt Durkin. You are here in my office, and I have a question for you. Do you remember the music that completely altered your life? The albums, the artists that changed your outlook on the world, that transformed you into who you are today? Well, this is going to be the start of a new Monday series where I talk about the records that changed my life, one record at a time. Now, that might be the most interesting thing in the world to you, but to me, I think this is important. If you want to know why I'm reviewing music the way I do, why I develop my opinions the way that I do, the way I listen to music the way that I do, then it's important to know where I come from, the type of music that I listened to growing up, and the type of music that I continue to listen to today. Now, all these records are not going to be, my current state, my favorite albums. They're not going to be stuff that I listen to constantly. But I go back to them knowing that they help shape who I've become, help shape my love of music. And I think it's important to recognize how we grow as people, how we grow as listeners, how we grow in terms of listening to and absorbing and understanding music. So this will be the first of a weekly series. Every single Monday, going to be doing this type of video because I need some extra time to do reviews. I think there's a ton of stuff that comes out every Friday, and I just need a little extra time. So from Tuesday to Saturday, we'll be having dedicated music reviews. Mondays, doing this type of thing. Telling you the albums that I listened to growing up, the stuff that I enjoy today, and how I continue to enjoy that music, or if I don't continue to enjoy that music, but still recognizing that it helped contribute to my overall musical knowledge and growth. So the first album that I'm going to be talking about might completely throw you off from this channel entirely. You might be like, I don't care about this dude anymore. But I have to sort of recognize that this album opened a lot of pathways for me for thinking about music and wanting to become a musician myself and learning specific instruments, namely the guitar, but also I wanted to learn the violin as well, but that never happened. And also the saxophone too. Wanted to learn the saxophone, never did it. I learned how to play the trombone instead. I don't know why I didn't pick up the saxophone, but it got me very, very interested in learning how to play guitar. Now this record is Dave Matthews Band's first studio record, Under the Table and Dreaming. Came out in 1994. I was born in 1986, so it came out when I was 8 years old. And I got it. I heard it when I was 8 years old. I grew up in upstate New York, near the border with Vermont, and in Vermont there's an excellent radio station called WEQX. And every day I would listen to that radio station while going to school, being dropped off to school, getting picked up from school. My mom would always listen to that radio station. That's the only radio station my mother or my father listened to, pretty much. So I grew up listening to all of the grunge acts, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Soundgarden. Grew up listening to that stuff, but I also grew up listening to Dave Matthews Band, and that stuck out to me. For some reason, that particular sound stuck out to me, and I latched onto it. I latched onto it completely, and it became the soundtrack for much of my youth. When I was 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, I was obsessed with this band. I built a placard, a billboard of images, a shrine to the Dave Matthews Band, because I just loved it so much, and I envisioned myself playing this music. So one day my mother got me Under the Table and Dreaming. She got me the CD, and I was ecstatic. I wasn't expecting it. She just bought it for me because I've been listening to it on the radio. I knew all the words to the singles, What Would You Say, Satellite, It's Marching, all those songs that are sort of become staples in mid-90s rock. And I wore that thing out. I loved it. And the thing about that record was, I think for a lot of young kids, they explore the singles. They explore the stuff that they know. So like the songs I just mentioned, I listen to those songs a lot. But as you grow, as you get more intrigued by an album, by a band, the songs that you never heard before all of a sudden are super exciting. And they're adventurous. They're something that you never expected this band to do these particular things. Now on that record, Under the Table and Dreaming, there are these sort of well-known tracks by the Dave Matthews Band now: Jimmy Thing Warehouse, Dancing Nancy's, Best of What's Around, Pay for What You Get. I can name these songs off the top of my head. I know this record so well. And when I first encountered those songs, they gave me a new perspective on this band that I've known through their singles, and now I have all this other material to work from. And I studied it. I listened to it constantly. I listened to that music constantly, so I knew it backwards and forwards. And there was such a life force to that record. And I still believe it. I still think there's a sort of an energy around that record. As much as you may like or dislike the Dave Matthews Band, it's either you like them or you really don't like them. There's no really in between status there. But when you like them, I think you hear that record and you hear this youthfulness, this playfulness. And being so young myself, I felt like it reflected my energy that I had at the time. This energy to explore, to create things, to really love the world. And ideally, kids have that mindset. I was very lucky to have that mindset, being able to do that, to look at the world that way. I know that lots of people do not have that opportunity. Lots of kids don't have that opportunity. So I feel very lucky that I was able to turn to this music and feel youth and feel this freedom in the record. And for me, that's why Under the Table and Dreaming is a very important record to me, because it did allow me to think about music more than just as a background, but as something to live through, to have something that can give you life. Like I said earlier, WEQX had the grunge sort of wave, and I enjoyed that too. But it also sort of terrified me as well. It scared me. I was only 8, 9 years old. It was kind of scary. And so Dave Matthews Band was, for me at that stage in my life, a very life-affirming record. And I found a lot of joy in it. I did later find a lot of joy in grunge and hearing that music and hearing the angst and hearing the despair at times in grunge. And I think there's a lot of wonderful stuff there. But Under the Table and Dreaming, for me, is a cornerstone of my musical development. And if you haven't listened to that record before, if you're just like, you already have this negative image of Dave Matthews Band that's been ingrained within American culture, American music culture, they're just sort of like a hippie jam band, college bro frat guys, which is very true. I think there's also this musicality that is sometimes forgotten about that band, and that they were really fantastic musicians and continue to be pretty fantastic musicians. So I turned to that record because it got me invested in music, and it was a springboard to go into other areas of music. Over time, I did sort of forget about Dave Matthews Band. Over time, I outgrew them. But from time to time, I do return to that record, and I feel this sense of youth that is 20 years past. But that's the wonderful thing about music, and the reason why we listen to music that we grew up with. It returns us to a time that hopefully is very positive, is really warm and inviting. And when I hear that record, I feel those same exact things. So that's my first record that really helped me develop my musical identity. Dave Matthews Band's Under the Table and Dreaming, released in 1994, had the singles What Would You Say, It's Marching Satellite. Also, I believe Typical Situation was a single, but that never charted or did anything. So, if you've never listened to that record before, go check it out if you're interested. Hear where I'm coming from, at least for this first record. There's a lot more, but I want to start with this one because it was such a cornerstone. What were your records? What were the records that helped make you become who you are today? What made you sort of fall in love with music? I'd love to know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, like or check out my other videos, subscribe, as well as hit the notification bell so that you know whenever I release a new video. As always, I have my Twitter and Gmail accounts attached below if you want to send me any recommendations. I'm back here tomorrow with a new video. I'll talk to all of you soon.